Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to get on here today and tell you about Connor's EEG. And a little bit of background about that. If you don't know, Connor had a seizure, we believe, in November. And quick thinking mama, I have it on video and all that. Anyway, long story short, our pediatrician kind of brushed it off. I spoke with... He kind of tried to blame it on nystagmus, which he does have, which is where his eyes jerk. I called and talked to his ophthalmologist, which is his eye doctor, and described to them what happened, offered to send them the video, offered to come in, and they said no. Everything you are describing is seizure activity, and that would not have anything to do with his nystagmus. So, you know, basically, they were nice, but basically, you know, we can't help you. And so... they told me to call his pediatrician, and I'm like, okay. And so we went to the pediatrician. That's when we were kind of brushed off about it, kind of blamed it on nystagmus, said we would revisit it later if I felt like I wanted to. I wasn't comfortable with that. I ended up calling and talking to his lung doctor because at the time he had a cold, his lung doctor spoke to me for like over an hour over the phone. Well, his nurse, his lung doctor's nurse, she talked to me for like an hour over the phone, and this is what she said, basically. Look, if you want to see a neurologist, and you want an EEG, and you want all these things, you fight for it. And you don't give up, and you don't let anyone tell you later, if you want it, you fight for it. And she said, why have you not changed pediatricians? I'm just going to be honest. And so, anyway, long story short, we changed pediatricians and we got referred to a neurologist. Now, at the neurologist appointment, they evaluated Connor. They were super nice. We discussed what happened in November. We discussed, he did have a seizure when he was a baby before we got him. I think he was like 13 months old. And that was a pretty bad seizure. He did lose consciousness. He did convulse. And it was about a 15-minute ordeal. And he was actually hospitalized at that time. One of the most frequently asked questions I have was he sick then? Did he have a fever then? And the answer was no. There was no fever. There was no calls. They did an EEG. They did all kinds of things. They couldn't find anything. And he was discharged the next day from the hospital. And he has never done that again. But because he did this on me in November, and that had happened when he was a child, so there's two instances, they decided it was enough to see a neurologist if I wanted to. So that's why I went to the neurologist. We discussed all those things. I had all my notes and paperwork ready to describe to her everything that had happened and all the information I have about when he was 13 months old. And so we decided to do an EEG. We did not do like the 24-hour overnight EEG. We wanted to just do this short one first and see if it was abnormal. And if it was abnormal, we will go on to do the longer one. We were good with this. I felt really good with this. This is what I wanted the whole time. We saw this doctor in February, and the neurologist, and then the EEG was set up for my birthday. Like, they actually set me up for an EEG like just the next week after the appointment, which I thought was pretty awesome. You know, they had told me if you have to give him his PRN meds, which is albuterol for his breathing, if you have to do that for any reason, he can't continue with the EEG because it could mess with the results. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, no problem. He was fine at that appointment. It was just going to be the next week, you know, that we were having it done. So I thought, well, we're not going to have to give him that. No problem. I'm definitely not canceling this. You know, I've waited since November. I've waited a long time for this. I've fought really hard for this. I am not canceling it. Well, surprise, surprise. 2 days later, Connor was diagnosed with pneumonia. We started having to do his PRN meds around the clock and other meds also. And so I had to cancel the appointment in February. So the appointment was rescheduled for Monday, which was March, 24th, I think. What happened was we could have done it earlier in March, but the thing was this is our spring break. And so I was like, well, let's just make it for spring break so I won't have to miss work. That way, and he won't be missing school, and if we're going to wait till March anyway, why not just wait till toward the end of, you know, I didn't see a reason to fast forward it. I've already been waiting since November, and so let's just do it then. So that was our thinking behind that. Who knew that we would be in a pandemic, and he ain't been to school, but anyway, who knew any of that? So I was kind of fearful that it was going to get canceled again. I'll be honest. I kind of contemplated whether I should cancel it. You know, Connor cannot get sick right now. And so we were just really nervous, but we decided, hey, we've waited so long. If we cancel again, if this gets worse, we're going to wait even longer, you know. And so we did it. It was, they had, like, when you go in the front door, they're sitting there with masks. They're asking you a bunch of questions before they'll even let you in. And it was, only 2 people can go in with a patient. And it was just very eye-opening being there. But I felt secure in the place. And, it, you know, it made me feel good also. I'm feeding Connor, so he's going to come in and out. Anyway, so we get to the appointment, we talk to him, we answer all the questions, we get checked in and all that, and we get up there, and they take him in a room, and they have him lay down. They have me lay down with him, kind of keep him calm, and they start hooking all the things to his head. He was not happy about it, but he was so tired. Well, backtrack. I am all over the place right now. Sorry, guys. I had to keep him up until midnight. And then I had to let him sleep from midnight to 4 a.m. and get him up again. And then keep him up to the appointment. His appointment was at 10. So, if you know Connor personally, you know that he goes to bed at 7:30 every night. If it gets late, he will pretend to yawn and point at his room, meaning he wants to go to bed. And he loves his sleep. And so it was hard keeping him up till midnight. I had been so nervous about that. I'd been so nervous about the car ride. How do I keep him awake in the car? He's going to be so irritated and just in a really bad mood and really mad at me because I'm going to have to just pester him to keep him awake. But what we ended up doing was around his bedtime, I pulled out his tablet, gave him his tablet. He played on that tablet. He got up. He danced. He hooped. He hollered. We did great. He went to bed at midnight. When I got him up at 4 a.m., he kind of gave me a look like, what is going on here? But he got out of bed. He never whined. And he played his tablet. On the way to Knoxville, he played his tablet like he was a champ. So we get in there. Back to where I was. We get in there and they start hooking him up. Of course, he's mad, but he's only had 4 hours of sleep, so he doesn't have his usual fighting strength because he will. They normally have to call in reinforcement to help hold him down because he will fight us. So he didn't do so bad. They also had the TV on, so he was watching that. What were we watching? I can't think of what it's called with the fox and the rabbit that's a cop. Anyway, I don't remember. Zootopia. We love Zootopia, don't we? So we were watching Zootopia while she's hooking him up, and she, you know, they put this lotion-like stuff on his head so it'll stick, and they stick these things all over his head, connected to these wires, connected to the computer or whatever, telling him what his brainwave's doing. So she hooks him up, she wraps it, it's wrapped up like a mummy, and then we're laying there, and she said, first I'm going to kind of stimulate him with these flashing lights. You know, you might not want to look directly at him because it can cause migraines. And since I get migraines so much anyway, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. I'm right there in the bed with him. They're right in front of him. So they bring this thing in front of him, and they start doing these lights. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to not really make him have a seizure, but trying to get that activity to start if he is having them. And I'm not sure if they do that on everybody or if, like, that was just done on cases like his where they're not having them all the time, so they're trying to get them to... Because the thing about this EEG is it's not going to show anything about November. November is gone. November is past. All that stuff is gone. What it's going to show is if his brain's doing anything, if there's any indicators that could happen again, if there's any indicators of seizure activity right then during the test. That's all it shows. So... they're kind of trying to stimulate him to get in that area with these flashing lights. It was crazy. I tried not... it was almost like a camera flashing, but I mean, it was right at you, and they did it slower, they did it faster, they did it brighter, they did it dimmer, and so I was kind of laying there with my head the other way, trying not to look at it because I do get migraines, and she said it could bring on a migraine, so I was trying not to look at it. So they did that, and then they turned off the movie, they turned off the lights, and they wanted him to go to sleep. And this is where I was really nervous because I was like, gosh, I know he's sleepy, but like, what if he fights it? Because I mean, I've got stuff running off from my head, you know. And so I was super nervous. So we were laying there, and Jeremy was sitting in the room, and I was laying in the bed with him, and she asked us if we had anywhere to be. And we're like, no, we don't have anywhere to be. And she's like, okay, well, we don't have any appointments after you. The hospital was like a ghost town, y'all. We saw no one but people that worked there, but nurses and doctors, and literally, that's all we saw. There was no one there at all. Because most of these parents had canceled their appointments, which I get. I had contemplated. But because of our background with trying to get this EEG, I really wanted to do it. We prayed about it, and we decided to do it. And now it's kind of like, knock on wood, we might see in 14 days. I don't know. But now it's kind of like, dude, there wasn't anybody there. Like, it was fine to do it, I think. We'll see. Anyway, so we... she went out of the room. So she said, there's no one after you. Like, you're it. So if you want me to leave you in here a while and wait until he goes to sleep, if it takes a while, I will. And we were like, yeah, that's fine, you know. Because she said we can do it without him being asleep, but it's better if he goes to sleep. Like, there's more chances of seeing more things if he'll go to sleep. We're like, yeah, that's fine. So she left. And so I'm laying there. I'm trying not to look at him because I'm afraid if I make eye contact with him, he's going to try to play with me because we're laying in the bed together. And so I kind of look the other way. They turned on some white noise. And all of us, like, I felt him move a little. He didn't move much. I felt him move a little. And like I said, I'm trying not to look. And all of a sudden, I felt his breathing, like, slow down, and he wasn't really making the snoring noise, but it sounded kind of like snoring, so I'm like turning real slow trying to look. He's out. I would say 3 to 5 minutes. He was out. And I was like, oh, thank goodness. So I just had to lay there. So I just laid there, and we waited, and we could see the monitor in our room and his brain. Of course, we have no idea what we're looking at. But he did a few times kind of jerk around like he was dreaming maybe. So anyway, so we have no idea results. She came back in. She unhooked him. The unhooking process was far worse than the hooking up for him. I think because when she started pulling off that wrap, it made noise, and like that freaked him out. Anyway, I had to almost lay on him, and Jeremy was having to hold him down also so she could unhook him. It's like, dude, you're getting unhooked. But anyway... So we should get results from that in like a week. Our neurologist will look over it and give us a call. So still deep in my heart, I could be completely wrong. Who knows? I think it's going to be normal. I think everything's okay. But I'm going to feel better having had it done and having that reassurance. And then that way, if it does ever happen again, we already have a neurologist. And it's not like, oh my gosh, we need to be referred to a neurologist and going through... these 3 months, 4 months, again, waiting to get in, and then it's not going to show anything about that time, you know. So it does make me feel better now that we have a neurologist, and we can just call her and be like, hey, you had a seizure yesterday, you know, can we get an appointment? And so that's going to be super nice, much better than having to call. Because, see... he has a lot of he has another specialist like this. The neurologist we will not see again unless this EEG showed something, but we'll still have her as a doctor, like PRN if we need her. And that's kind of how he is with his orthopedic doctor. If you don't know, his hip, he just wouldn't walk one day. Like, he had been acting weird the days before, kind of whiny, but I didn't notice anything until, boom, he would not walk at all. He would not stand up. He would not walk. He just cried and cried, and he was pulling at his hip. Well, I thought he was pulling at his crotch area. So we were thinking something totally different might be going on, but it was his hip, y'all. Anyway, after an ER visit, we found out it was definitely the hip. And so we have an orthopedic doctor we went to, and like we have him now as PRN. If that ever happens again, we call him. And so I kind of, it sounds crazy, but I kind of like having doctors like that. You know, we have 3 specialists that we go to every 3 months no matter what. And a lot of times it's just... hey, he's doing good, and we'll see you in 3 months, you know? So it's kind of nice that the neurologist and the orthopedic doctor don't make us come every 3 months just to say everything's great, is what I'm trying to say. It's nice that I have them, though, if I need them. So... that's kind of what's going on. Now we're just kind of in the waiting game. Like I said, I expect everything to be normal. I expect everything to be fine. And if it's not, we'll go from there. And I will definitely update you guys either way about what happened. Connor slept last night for 14 hours. I slept for 11. We were beat, y'all. We are a family that likes our sleep. We believe in our sleep. And it was rough on us, but he did really well. And I know that all of y'all were praying because I'd been begging everybody to pray because because like I said, I was scared to death, especially about the ride to Knoxville, because how are you going to keep him awake? But the tablet came through. What we do with our tablet is he does not have access to it all the time. It's normally hid somewhere, and of course the hiding spots are different spots. And the reason we do that is because he would literally never lay it down, be on it all the time. And if we can, you know, get him up and get him moving, get him doing other things, we want to do that. And so we only bring it out on special occasions like this. And so I think that's kind of why it really worked in this instance for him, because he knows he don't get it a lot. And so anyway, it's just been a lifesaver. It really has. It's already been, just if it kept him awake for this EEG stuff, in my opinion, it's its money's worth. It's already been a lifesaver, which they're not that much anyway, but it's already been well worth the price. And so anyway, I will update you guys and let you guys know what's going on, but that was our EEG experience. Finally, after 4 months, we got it, and we can get some answers. And like I said, I expect it to be normal. I expect everything to be fine, but it will make me feel a lot better. And it was super painless, super easy. We were in and out. Like I said, we never saw another patient. All we saw was the doctor, staff, and nurses and things. And so it was kind of creepy, I will admit. It was kind of like, I don't know, I feel that way like on the interstate too. When you see no people, it feels good because you're supposed to be staying home. And by the way, we have been, except for this doctor appointment. Like, it feels good, but like at the same time, it's just a creepy feeling, and it really makes the reality set in of what's going on. And so anyway, just wanted to update you guys and hop on here and tell you that. Bye, guys.